Hey guys, welcome back to my channel! So, I know you guys love these DIY series so much, so I decided to make one of your wishes come true again. So, a couple of weeks ago, one of you guys requested in the comments that I make a Calendula Chamomile face toner for hyperpigmentation and acne, so that's what I will be sharing with you today. Unfortunately, I have to make a disclaimer here. Calendula and chamomile are known for soothing and healing properties. It does more of calming the skin, but not much of shrinking or combating acne. So if you really want to make this toner to be something that is good to combat acne, I would highly recommend you to add some acne-fighting actives, such as niacinamide or maybe tea tree essential oil, or aloe vera if that works for you. Also, if you notice in the thumbnail and the background video here, there are two types of toners that I'm showing. One is labeled as expensive and the other one is labeled as cheap. And the reason for this is because I want to share with you how you can make two versions of the same product that looks so much alike from the outside. Heck, they even have similar list of ingredients and they even smell the same. But they both have different efficiency or quality, if you will, on the skin, which also determines whether the product is actually expensive or cheap. This can be a very useful knowledge for the next time you want to buy skincare in the drugstore or Sephora or wherever you get your skincare products from. So if you're ready, let's get to it! First things first, as always, you will need to sterilize all of your equipment and surfaces, everything and anything that's going to touch your product. This prevents bacteria from getting into your product, which in turn will elongate your shelf life a little more. And since we're working with a lot of natural ingredients in the product, bacteria prevention is a really big deal for us. So to sterilize your equipment, it's really easy. Put on your gloves and get yourself a 70% rubbing alcohol. So you want to spray everything thoroughly until it's wet. Be really generous with it. And get yourself a microfiber cloth or a disposable towel to wipe the excess water off of the surfaces. Okay, so we'll start with the expensive version of this toner first. The first ingredient here is magnesium sulphate, aka Epsom salt. Epsom salt is really one of my favorite ingredients. It's not a salt. It's not like any other salt you've seen before because it's not even a salt. It's a mineral. It's a type of mineral that is super healing and super beneficial for the human skin and body. Epsom salts can heal any cuts and bruises or irritations on the skin, and even if you have skin diseases such as eczema or psoriasis, Epsom salts can really help calm those irritations down, and with persistent usage can actually heal it. So this is my large supply of Epsom salt. I keep it in this large container because I do use a lot of it. I get myself the 25 kilo bag every 2 months or so. And most of it is used in my body scrubs, face scrubs, and bath soaks. So I just get a small amount. If you want to use Epsom salt in your toner, you really don't need to use a lot of it. I've listed the complete formulation in the description box below, so be sure to check that out for the full measurements. Next, we're going to add some glycerin. Glycerin is a sugar-based humectant. It's sweet. If you accidentally eat them, it's sweet. But it also does a really good job at attracting moisture from the environment or from the product itself and push it into your skin to hydrate the cells. Into this, we're going to add some D-panthenol. D-panthenol is actually vitamin B5, and this is another powerful active ingredient that helps with hydrating and moisturizing the skin. And to this, we're going to add some Calendula Hydrosol. Since this is a Calendula Chamomile toner, of course we're going to add something that is from Calendula and is from chamomile. A hydrosol is basically a byproduct of making essential oils. It does not contain any oil. It is 100% water-based, and despite being a byproduct, it still has some good properties from the plant that was used in making this product, which is calendula in this case. It is not a must that you use a hydrosol in making a toner. You can just use plain distilled water, but again, we're making the expensive version right now, so that's why we're using a hydrosol. So now you want to mix everything very thoroughly and make sure that the Epsom salt has dissolved fully before you proceed. You can either whisk it manually, like I'm doing right now, or you can also get yourself a stick blender or an electric frother. Obviously, electric frother gets the job done so much quicker. Okay, so this is an ingredient that you cannot skip, be it for an expensive version or a cheap version of the toner. It's Polysorbate 20. What it does is that it binds to the oil molecules. In this case, it's gonna be the essential oil, because that's what we're gonna add in next. And it allows a very even dispersion into the liquid, which means the oil is not just gonna sit on top of the product. Once the Polysorbate 20 is well incorporated with the mixture, you can proceed to adding your essential oil. In this one, I'm using a Roman Chamomile essential oil since it is a Calendula Chamomile toner. Roman Chamomile will add that really soothing and calming skin effect. It's really good if you have sensitive skin or if you have an irritated skin. It heals it up. You can actually add both chamomile and calendula essential oils if you have them. Now you gotta make sure that you really mix it really well, because if you don't, it's gonna separate and you don't want that. Here's a tip: if you want to get rid of the thick foam that forms after you froth your solution, just grab your 70% rubbing alcohol again and spray on top of the foam. Rubbing alcohol will pop all the bubbles and you will be left with a clear surface. Now you can see your product clearly. Now that we're done with those, we can proceed to adding the extracts. The first one I'm using here is Calendula Extract. I made these extracts myself, by the way. I'll probably make a video on how to make your own extracts from dried herbs. So this will give you that potent calendula benefits, which is skin healing and calming. And I also have some chamomile extract, so that's what I'm gonna add next. Chamomile is so good to calm any irritations, and it somewhat will help in reducing acne as well since it calms irritations. It sort of stops things from getting worse. And last but not least, we need to preserve this. This is a product with high water content, so there's really no skipping this part. You need your preservative. I'm using Liquid Germall Plus. It's a broad spectrum preservative. It's really easy to use and also very stable. You can use any other type of preservative that is water soluble. Just explore whatever you have in your location and make sure to study first on how to use that specific preservative. And of course, give it a little more mix to make sure everything is incorporated, especially those oils. And that's it, guys. That's how you make the expensive version of this toner. But don't worry, if the cost is high, that means you can sell it at a pretty good value too. It all depends on the type of ingredients used and concentration, because this will all determine how effective the product will be. This is ready to be packaged, but before that I'm gonna proceed to making the cheaper version of the same Calendula Chamomile toner. So we start with basically the same concept. You gotta make sure everything is nice and sterilized. And since this is a cheaper version, we're gonna be skipping a lot of the ingredients. So no Epsom salt, we start straight away with the glycerin. Just like the expensive version, we're still using glycerin because without it, your toner is gonna be dry. And in this cheaper version of the toner, we're gonna skip the D-panthenol as well, and the Calendula Hydrosol, because hydrosols are expensive and it will put a bit of cost in your product, so we're gonna substitute it with just plain old distilled water. But it's gotta be distilled water. Do not, again, use mineral water or boiled tap water. It doesn't work and it's gonna spoil your product faster. And then you want to give it a good mix to dissolve the glycerin. And then we straight away add the Polysorbate 20. Remember, be it a cheap or expensive product, this ingredient is still important. And you know the drill, we add the essential oil right after the Polysorbate. So I'm still using the same essential oil. I'm not cheaping out on this. I'm not gonna substitute this with any fragrance oils because I still want to keep it all natural. You can though, if you want to make it really cheap, just use synthetic fragrance oils. Just make sure it's cosmetics grade and skin safe. And give it a really thorough mix because you don't want the oil and water to separate again, and you want the Polysorbate to do its thing and solubilize the essential oil into the water. Give it a little spritz of rubbing alcohol to kill the bubbles so you can see what's underneath. Okay, so since we've already excluded a lot of the active ingredients, we need to make sure we still add some good ones so that the product is still effective. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the Calendula Extract, and I'm gonna add just this extract and exclude the Chamomile Extract since we've already added the Chamomile Essential Oil. So you still get to call this product Calendula Chamomile Toner even though it has lesser ingredients. Does that make sense to you? Oh yeah, if you still want to cut down on the cost while still using these ingredients, you can actually just reduce the amount. Reduce the essential oil and extract. That way you will save a lot, but you will still have the same benefits as the expensive one. But it won't be as effective and as fast reacting as the expensive version, of course. I mean, there's a reason why it's expensive, right? Part of the reason is because it is more effective on the skin compared to the cheaper version. Now all we gotta do is add the preservative and we're good to go. Give that a final mix, kill the bubbles, and it's done! Now let's take a look at both of them. I used different colored whisk so that we can differentiate them easily since they both look pretty much alike physically. The expensive one has this pink whisk and the cheaper one has this purple whisk. Look at that! They do look pretty darn similar, don't they? The one with the pink whisk sorta look a little lighter, but that's probably because of the lighting. The sunlight is shining from the left side from where I'm filming this. Yeah, so I switched the places for a bit just so you can see that it looks pretty much the same. They both got that yellowish tint from the extracts used. Also, the cheaper version only used one type of extract, but I used the same amount as I've used in the expensive version, which is 2% in total. You can refer to the exact formulation in the description box below. For the cheaper version, I used 2% of Calendula Extract only, but in the expensive version, I used 1% of Calendula Extract and 1% of Chamomile Extract, but in total, it still makes 2% of the extracts. Of course, if you have added more extract or more of any kind of active ingredients that has a tint, it's gonna change the entire color of the toner, which is fine if that's what you're going for. I'm using this 150 ml toner bottle with a stopper that has a hole on it because it's a toner. And this is a toner bottle. It makes applying a toner much easier. You can actually also package this in a spray bottle and use it as a face mist instead. The cheap version would work wonderfully as a face mist since face mists usually have a lighter texture. And since this is a DIY product, I don't actually have a proper label for this, so I just used a label maker to print the names. So there you have it! Two versions of the same product. One is an expensive version and another one that is a much cheaper version. As you can see, when you look from the outside, they look pretty darn similar. They have pretty much the same viscosity, same color, and they both smell exactly the same since we did use the same Roman Chamomile Essential Oil for both. Now don't get me wrong, just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's not good. It is still a very good product. We still did use some real essential oils and extracts. It still has a very high content of natural ingredients. And of course, it'll still work on the skin to hydrate, calm irritations, and soothe the skin. Just that it wouldn't work as fast as the expensive one would. The obvious reason for this is because in the expensive version, we've added some really good actives, which are the D-panthenol, which is amazing at skin hydrating, and we also used hydrosol instead of distilled water, and the hydrosol itself already carried the benefits of the calendula flowers in it. And now the taste test! Not literally. While you can see that the texture is pretty much the same, it has a watery texture because we didn't really put anything that is thick or heavy in this toner, so they both still have that watery texture. But when applied to the skin, you can actually feel the difference. The expensive version is much more hydrating and it feels really good and soft on the skin. The obvious difference in skin hydration feel is because of the D-panthenol. Now, the cheaper version still has the same texture, but on the skin it doesn't feel as hydrating as the expensive version. This one actually feels lighter, but this actually makes it good as a face mist instead of a toner. You know, the kind that people would use as a versatile product that can also be sprayed on top of makeup. Because for it to be able to be sprayed on top of makeups and at any time of the day, it needs to be light, and I feel like this one is perfect for that. Whereas the expensive version is more like a proper toner, the kind that you would use after cleansing your skin for a little boost of hydration. So there you have it, how to make 2 versions of Calendula Chamomile Toner. And I hope from this video you can finally understand what makes a product that seems similar to probably another brand's product on the market, but it has a very different price range. Most of the time is because of the number of ingredients used in that product, as well as the concentration and the quality of the ingredients used. Of course, there are so many other factors to be included to know why a certain product is more expensive or why another brand can sell a similar product at a much cheaper price, but these are just some of them. So we've come to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed this kind of content. Let me know if you want to see more of this, and if you have any other ideas you want me to try and formulate for you, just drop me a comment below. I really want to monetize this channel as soon as possible, so if you like my content, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with your family and friends. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!